What's going on YouTube? It's KDZ here coming at you guys with another Market Watch. Um, the reason why I do these videos is because I love talking about trading card games, and I would love to build a community that feels the same, loves talking about trading card games. And with that, let's get into it. I wasn't able to bring you guys a part two Market Watch yesterday. I went upstairs, laid down with the missus, and passed out before it was time to do the recording. Sorry about that. I'm gonna try to be more consistent going forward. You know, just making sure I bring you guys the content that you want to see. Um, Yesterday I left off talking about Scarlet and Violet. I mean, everything that I had up yesterday is pretty much still up today. Uh, like I said, I've been working on trying to just get down. I've been working on trying to just getting down, the ins and outs of creating these videos and whatnot. I know before I started making them again yesterday, I was at a loss because I was trying to find a USB to these headphones that I have so I could use the mic on it. And then today, I just had an epiphany that my earbuds have a mic built in on them. And then when I was testing the mic before I started this stream today, when I looked, apparently the MacBook Pro has a built-in mic. So it was like I went through all that trouble trying to find these different microphones. And the laptop actually has a built-in mic. I'm not actually using the laptop's mic right now. I'm using the earbuds. So if you guys listened to the Market Watch yesterday and you guys listen to the Market Watch today, um, up to you. If you want to tell me which audio you like better, go ahead and drop it in the comments down below. But back to the trading card, what we're really here for. Um, in terms of Yu-Gi-Oh, yesterday I left off on Wild Survivors. I gave you guys my breakdown of what I believe the rarity hierarchy. And anybody who wants to debate me on that, feel free in the comments or, during the live stream, just drop a chat. We can debate it live. Uh, anyone feeling bold, they can come on the live stream with me. Like I said, I'm here to build a community of people who love talking about trading card games. So I'm all for a fellow member of the community who has the same passion as I do, wanting to discuss these things because it's all fun. Um, let's go ahead and go back into the archive of trading cards that have been released thus far. I have recently watched a video on the lure of Albaz. I'm gonna see if I could try to find who made that video to shout them out because I thought the video was amazing and like it gave me a huge perspective. I wonder where they got the lure from because I'm like if Konami makes like a book for this stuff or whatnot, I would love to take part in that because I'm just a huge fan of the Yu-Gi-Oh game, and that's one thing that Konami really doesn't elaborate on is the lore of the story behind the cards before the cards were connected to the anime, so their lore came through the anime. Like their lore was, oh, this person in the anime used the card. That was the lore of the card. It wasn't like how in Magic they have this underlying story of like I'm not sure if you guys have been following Magic or anything, but recently one of the big things, the big climaxes recently happened earlier this year in Magic. It was the All Will Be One Phyrexia set. And this set was like this climax of sets dating back to like 2014 or 15, I think, of just different events developing. It might not have been that far back. It might have been closer to like 2017 or 18. But still, that's 5 years of a developing lore for the card, so it like builds more attachment to them. But and there's like a book that Magic releases that goes along with the sets that is it gives you a full description of everything that's happening. And then on the cards, with certain cards, they even have story spotlight. Here, let me see if I can find one. Go ahead and open up the tab here real quick. It'd be better if I show you guys. If we go into the TCG player. Now you got the Lord of the Rings. That's not a standard set. That Lord of the Rings, I believe it's a commander set, but I'm a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings, and the fact that they did that was just pretty amazing. Like they have some pretty cool collaborations that they do, but the Lord of the Rings, I mean, that definitely takes the cake. Now, see here, well, we're not going to use these alternate arts. I'm gonna get a regular art. But I'm surprised Ellis Warren is actually $26. I mean, she is good, but is she $26 good? Okay, she doesn't even have the story spotlight on her card. Let's see. Now, Atraxa, she's good. She's broken. Okay, here we go. This all will be one card. You see down here in the left-hand corner, it says story spotlight. And then they also have an excerpt or a flavor text from the story of what's happening in the artwork. The invasion tree broke through the blind eternities and sent Phyrexian perfection coursing across the multiverse. Like that just it adds another level of depth to the artwork, to just the story, the card game overall that I think Magic has really perfected, and that's one thing that Yu-Gi-Oh does not do. They don't they don't spell out the lore of the cards. Like you have to, unless, like I said, I don't know where they got that channel that I found that had the lore for the Albaz. Okay, yes, it's called. This is the name of the channel. Let me go ahead and get to YouTube real quick. Yeah, the name of the channel is Galzo, and this is the video. This is the video right here on the top. So it was expertly made, and it perfectly depicts the lore of following the Albaz and the Luber, and it shows you how things tie into each other. And I thought that was really amazing and unique because then you could see like, oh, so these are the characters in the story, and then these are the cards that are printed in such and such rarity. So it kind of gives you like it's almost like the rarity that the cards are printed in is Yu-Gi-Oh! Story spotlight for these cards. Like when you're going over it, Fallen of Albaz fell from the sky. Fallen of Albaz is a secret rare. A Luber fell from the same hole that Fallen of Albaz fell from. He's a secret rare. Fleur de Lis transforms into the Irish Sword Soul, and then she transforms into Despian Luluwa Lilith. All of these are secret rares. Like it just shows you the value of each card. Or it shows you the role they play almost in the story. It doesn't completely spell it out for you. It just gives you somewhat of an idea that this card does play a significant role in said story. But the only way I got that is from watching the homie's video, Galzo. And like I said, I'm not sure if Galzo got that information from somewhere else, he um, or he just did the research himself. But I would love for Konami to just, even if they just made like how they went out of their way to create a Sky Striker manga, even if they just went out of their way to create a manga for the story of the cards, like I don't understand why they don't do that. I feel like it would add, that would be uh, another way to bring people into the game, because it's just another way of um, marketing their product. There's a lot of people who like manga and never played a card game, but I bet if they read the story of Albaz, they're like, "Oh, this is a really good story," and then they seen that these these characters were made into cards. I feel like they would be willing to go after those cards. But nevertheless, it would just be nice for Konami to just give us a little bit more clarity on what's happening in these stories, because that's not the only story. Like, there's plenty of stories. Like, while that story is going on, you have the Tier Elements Cashtira Visa Starfrost story. Like, now you have a whole new lore arc, or the World Legacy World Chalice. Now it's interesting because the World Legacy World Chalice story arc took place during the time that there was an anime running, but the World Legacy World Challenge story arc has nothing to do with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns anime, and it just has its own lore arc. And it's like, okay, well, where do we find out what what happens in this story? That would be nice. But it also shows you like the power level. Like Despian while Lulu while Lilith was created by, I believe it was Guardian Quim the Virtuous. She gave like the last of her powers to bring back the Irish sword soul who had died when she was captured, and she gave her the power to defeat Maximus, who had transformed into a Despian, who then transformed into Bestial Dispatter when he performed some type of ritual, made himself really big, and then he absorbed all the Bestials and he turned into Bestial Dispatter, and he was this overwhelming powerful creature, which Bestial Dispatter is this overwhelmingly powerful card. And then they needed another overwhelmingly powerful creature, monster person card to stop it. And you get Despy and Lulu Walila. Um, and you just see it's like, okay, these very important characters are the most expensive cards in the set, and they're the highest rarity cards in the set. So like there's so much more. Uh, it adds another level of depth to the cards, um, that I just brings more to the fan experience of the game overall. But looking at Cyberstorm Access, not too much has changed back here. The boxes are $55. That's a pretty good price. I mean, I know a lot of Marketwatch channels out there tell you not to buy booster boxes, and for the most part, they're correct. Like if you only want Bishop the Spatter, and like if you only want a few top cards from the set, then you don't buy booster boxes for the top cards. You buy booster boxes for the fun factor. It's almost as if like how you would spend $60 on a video game, or how you would spend. I didn't understand that. Well, I wasn't talking to you. But yeah, it's almost like how you would, you know, go by go out for a dinner and a movie with someone. Um, that's about the same price, but that's about how much you would be paying for a booster box, and that's what you got to kind of treat that experience as, is that, oh, this is your night out. Um, this is your event for the evening. Like unless you're like a shop. No, like if you're a casual, you're not buying booster boxes to pull the top cards. You, of course, you're gonna have a small chance, but that's not what you're buying them for. And if you are truly buying it for cards, then the only cards you should really be buying it for are the comics. And so you don't have to trade or buy single commons offline. Then it makes sense to grab the booster box because you can get all of a playset of all the commons pretty much in one booster box. And then if that's your goal, then you accomplished your goal. So it was in this case a $55 well spent. And then the foil cards that you hit, they're just icing on the cake. Uh, Looking at, I do think though there is ranges, of like a booster box that you definitely wanna watch. 55 is a really good range for a core set booster box, especially because it's like, of course you can't invest in every product. Like not even shops can invest in every product that a card game drops because they have to invest in multiple card games. So their shop is, able to generate the most business possible. But at least that's how I would do it. I would invest in multiple card games to make my shop as profitable as possible to have that diversity. And with that, you can't go after every set um, that a card game drops. Like you're just going to miss some here and there. Because at the rate that card games are dropping sets now, it's kind of ridiculous. But if you're just focused on like core set booster boxes from like Yu-Gi-Oh, you're in a pretty good spot because they only drop 4 of those a year. So you have about 3 months, you know what I'm saying, to scrounge up 60 to 120 bucks to drop on a booster box or a couple of booster boxes to get all the commons in the set and the majority of the super rares. And it's not like for investment purposes or anything. Like I said, it's for that event factor and to have those lower rarity cards that can still be very good in a lot of cases. Like you think about cards like Parallel Exceed, that was a common that came in. What did Parallel Exceed come in? Was it Eternity Code? I think. I think it. I think no, it wasn't Eternity Code. It was. Wait, no, it was Eternity Code. It was Eternity Code. Um, but yeah, thinking of a card like Pearl XC, that was a common that came out of that set. And if you would have bought two booster boxes of Eternity Code, you got a play set, two play sets of Eternity of Parallel Exceed, a really good common, or Dino Wrestle Pankratops, which was a common so good he got limited to one. But he was in, I believe it was Soul Fusion. He bought two booster boxes of Soul Fusion. You're in pretty good shape. And I mean, it's not difficult for me, to scrounge up 60 to $120, every 3-4 months to grab a course at booster box. Um, but for some people it may be difficult, and in that regard, yeah, you might want to just stick with the singles. But I like the idea of doing something like that. Like I said, that way you can get a wide variety of cards because even when they do print them in the mega tens, you don't they don't print every card. Like the mega tens are like a 250 card set taken from at least four 100 card sets. So that's already 400 cards, 250. They're missing 150 cards. And then you do the math, 150 divided by what, four? That's almost 40 cards a set that they're missing. It's around like 33, 32, 32 point something cards per set that they're missing from each set. And it's like, that could be any card, you know what I'm saying, out of that set. So that's kind of just like a brief estimate though. But there I go rambling. I ain't even talking about cards. I'm just talking about card theory. But looking at this card in terms of singles, oh, easy money here. Firewall Dragon Singularity. It's a $3 secret rare out of a core set. It's not going to be reprinted for at least a year. Like that's strong value. This Firewall Defensor, it was like a $14 card a couple of weeks ago. Now it's five. Like that. Now this is something interesting. It was a $14 card May 14th. Well, that was a grip ago. That was almost 2 months ago, exactly 2 months ago, and it's been just dropping ever since. But that drop is from it not seeing play, it not seeing tops per se, and that's what I find interesting about other cards are that even if they're not seeing tops, they will still hold a value as if that they are. And Firewall Defense is a card that doesn't have a reprint. It's a single print out of this set, locked behind $56, unless you just go buy that single. But in the perfect world, in Konami's world, it's locked behind a $56 set, or well, $100 if you go MSRP per pack, $100 set. And unless you're trading for it, you're not getting it. But this is not Konami's perfect world, so we got secondary markets like TCG where we could just come and buy the same card itself for $4. But this is as cheap as it's ever been. I would say getting the firewall stuff now is a pretty good price. This Spirit Monster, this sneak peek version of it is extremely cheap for a sneak peek card. I've been hearing the rumblings of Mana Diem, coming down the pipeline. It may be a top contender at the beginning of next season, considering what Konami does with the ban list. So I keep an eye on Mana Diem Realm Heart because it was similar to like Aluber. Well, Aluber was a secret rare, but how Aluber at one point coming out of Dawn of Majesty, it was like a $17 card, and then it just went nuclear, and it went to like $130. And then as soon as it went to $130, not only did Konami drop the branded, that's what it was, that branded structure deck. But not only did they drop that branded structure deck, they turned around and they threw Aluber and Ghost from the Past too. So like, it definitely hurt some people's pockets. Like, oh, this card is, and it was crazy because Aluber hadn't even been out for a year yet. So that was unique. If something like that were to happen to Man and Beyond, you could consider from that history that it could possibly get a reprint and a higher reprint at that. But like I said, if you want to play Synchro, I feel like this would be a good time to grab Man and Beyond. At least I would grab Man and Beyond right now if I was playing Synchro. I know I wanted to go down the rabbit hole a little bit. This is a card because I just got into Master Duel. Like when I first got Master Duel, because I've been playing both Master Duel and TCG, I mean not TCG, MTG Arena. And when Master Duel first came out, its interface was nowhere near as smooth as MTG Arena, rightfully so. MTG Arena had already been out for a while, so they had more time to work out the kinks. But their interface was so smooth, I just got absorbed by MTG Arena, and I came back to Master Duel recently, and its interface now, I would say, like after the updates when they started to put, like display more information, like when they started to display that like an effect had been used or this particular effect is being used and it's highlighted. I feel like that's when the smoothness of the interface definitely increased a lot. But I've recently went back to Master Duel, and interestingly enough, the MacBook Pro because I did have a Dell, so I had the Microsoft operating system. Now I have this MacBook Pro, and you have the Mac OS, and it's just like it's completely different. One of the craziest things is that you cannot even get Master Duel on the MacBook. So I'm like having to play Master Duel on my phone, um, on a new account, and I bought the Dark Magician structure deck in there with the gems, and it just that is the first time I've actually played with Magician Souls in like a duel. I had read the card and I knew it was busted, but just playing with it in the Dark Magician, it's an amazing card. It definitely warrants this price tag. Um, if it was to ever be used, I know, like I said, it's being used in like synchro variants. It's being used with like the synchro variant stuff. And I feel like it could be used in a lot more decks, but it's an amazing card. And definitely this this secret rare coming out of Brothers of Legend, I don't want to say it's at a good price because it's like $24, $25. Yes, this is a good card, but I would much rather play a budget deck if I was competing to try to win, than play something that is this high in value. Um, because when we're talking about this type of value, I have to start looking at cards that won't drop in value. Like I don't want to spend $25 on a card, and then they reprint that card three more times, and that 20 or spend $75 for the playset of the card, and then they reprint that card like three more times, and then the value of that secret rare is now like 17. Like it might seem like you won't notice it, or at least I I would look at it like this. It might not seem like it would be noticeable. Like say they did that over like a 2 year span, and it's like 2 years from now you can get Magician Soul Secret Rare for $17 for the playset. You still got to look at it from the well, I would still look at it from the aspect of well, if I would have spent that same $75 on something that would have appreciated in price rather than depreciated, or had a greater chance to appreciate than depreciate, I would still be better off as opposed to trying to use this card at locals or at regionals or even at a YCS to try to win games. Uh, I just use a budget strategy and get my skills up and try to dominate with said budget strategy because it's not all about the most expensive cards. I mean, I'm trying to think of like a good example. I want to say like Prank Kids. Yeah, there are some expensive staples. You know, you got the triple tactics thrust, this, that nature. But it's not all about those expensive cards. It's about technical play. It's about state of mind. There's a lot of things that go into winning. It's not just about the cards in the deck. So I wouldn't focus on like if I felt like I was losing, I wouldn't focus on the cards in the deck. I would focus on my gameplay. I would focus on my state of mind and how I would go back and I analyze what went wrong during the match, and I analyze what lines could I have went to that could have led to different results. Because I felt like a lot of times when I was doing that, I would see that it wasn't the cards, it wasn't even the hand that I drew. It was the decisions that I made during the game, not being able to forecast uh, the state of the game and just my card knowledge. Like knowing what I can do in certain situations, knowing what cards my opponent may be playing uh, that could counter my situation or that could benefit their situation even more. I just felt like it was more card knowledge as opposed to the cards that I was actually using. But yeah, that's been about 30 minutes, guys. With that, we're going to be signing off. Hopefully, I provided some value to you guys during this live stream. And I'll see you guys in the next one. 30 minutes, guys. With that, we're going to be signing off. Deuce.